Alrighty, I thought I would shoot this short video based on some of the feedback and commentary I've had on the Facebook RC600, Boss RC600 groups, and questions around how to configure Midi control from a control surface on something like an iPad to trigger events via your hands, separate to what you do on the feet with the 600. So I'll talk you through what I do. This is my method. It's by no means is it the ultimate way to do it. There's many ways to do this, but I'll show you what I do. So the product I use is TouchOSC via an organization called Hexler. So if you go to hexler.net, go to products, you've got a list of their products here. The two that you really want are the first one, TouchOSC, the next gen modular control surface. Don't worry about the OSC Mark 1, that's the legacy product. So you want to grab that one, and you want to grab Protocol, which is their test utility. So once you grab those and you've got those installed, now I'm doing this on a Mac. This can be done equally as well directly on an iOS device like an iPad. Once you've got the apps installed and opened, this is what you'll see. So on the left-hand side of my screen over here, this is Protocol. This is the app that's going to show us what's being triggered via a log. So you'll see what's happening. And on the right, this is the OSC window and control pane, where we start to build things out in the way we want it to look. So as an example, the final control pane that I have has a number of different things on it, being all start stop for all tracks and everything else, a master volume, a slider for each track like a mixer, the rhythm volume, rhythm start stop, input effects 1 through 3. Now you can have more than that, but I'm only working with the 16 assigns that we have, and track effects 1 through 3. So there's an idea of what a control surface looks like and how it would appear on the iPad. But for the purpose of this, if we start from a blank, I'm just going to add some buttons, and you guys can build this out based on what you're looking for your independent workflows. So blank canvas, the panel on the right, the navigator, and the columns and the configuration here, we'll build that out as we go. So first things first, let's add a button that starts and stops a rhythm. So up the top here, just plus, very straightforward, button. See the button, make it the size that you want for the pane that you're in. And over on the right, things start to populate. So the first thing I suggest you do, under control, where it's type button, it says button 1, give it a name. So rhythm, start, stop. Just to keep things tidy, so once you get a number of buttons or sliders or radials on the screen, you'll know what they all are and be able to separate them. So we've got a rhythm start stop button. You can change its color and so on and so forth. Leave all that as it is. Because we want to turn an event on the RC600 on and then off, when you come down to the button function here it says the shape is rectangle and the type is momentary. Let's change that to toggle press. Right, so that's going to give us now a button that we can press. Now what's important is, what's a button going to do? What's it going to send? And this is where Protocol on the left is going to come in really handy. This is going to show us what's happening when we press that button in TouchOSC. So over here, we want to make it a touch button. In the Midi control change section, turn on touch. We're on control change. That's CC in Midi terms. That's where your CC hash number comes from. So we're going to send a control change command on channel 1, leave that as it is, and on a constant. And if we change the controller to also be constant, we can set this to CC1. So this button is going to send on channel 1, CC1. Leave the rest as is, value and scale through 0 through 127. Right, so that button's now set. Now, I've obviously already set the RC600 end to respond to CC1 with rhythm start stop, and I'll cover that in the next video. So if we test this, the way to do that is come up the top along the taskbar here, and you'll see the play button. Hit play, and it's going to show us our button. Now, a couple of things are going to happen. When we hit this button, we're going to see on the left in Protocol what it's sending, and we'll hear what's happening from the 600. So let's try that. Rhythm start. Ooh. Okay, Lee, build a gap in here. We're gonna cut this in it. We're gonna cut this video together here. That should be. Oh, that's why. Turn off X. That's it. So, cut back in. So now when we hit this button, we're going to see two things happen. We're going to see on the left the commands that are being sent, or the CCs that are being sent, and the MIDI commands from the button, and we'll hear what the RC600 is doing when it's triggered. So again, here we hit play. There we go. Channel 1, data 1 is on, and then off. On, off on channel 1. So that proves that button does rhythm start stop. Now click on the little white dot in the corner, top right. That brings us back to our edit window. Now the right thing to do now is to add a label to this. I'll do that quickly so you can see. Add, it's just the plus box again. Label. There's a label button there. If you scroll down to control, give it a name again. HM, start, stop, label. So we know what the asset is. That's the label. If you scroll down, you've got text. See, it says default and current. Change that to be rhythm, start, stop. That gives us a label. Now, like normal editing, just take that, place it in your button. So we have rhythm, start, stop. Something else to do to make it look pretty is to, on the button itself, where are we? Up here, turn off background. See this on control, our label, turn off the background. Now when we hit play, we have a red button for rhythm, start, stop, stop. Okay, little dot, take it back. So there's our rhythm, start, stop. Now, let's add another button for rhythm or to change the drum kit. Right, so we can take this, Command C, Command V, it's a new button. For the sake of variation, just change its color. So because it's copied, all of the attributes across are the same. What we need to do though is change the controller from channel to CC2. So CC1, CC2. Again, I've already set CC2 on the RC600 end to be kit change. Right. So that all said, all things being equal, we should be able to, in fact, let's add a label, same as before, and call it, drag it down here in the middle. Let's say no background and come down to its name and say kit change. And on the label for the control, just so that we keep it consistent, let's call it kit change label. Consistent. Now, watch over here. Everything in channel 1, data 1 is CC1 so far. Now we've added a new button that's going to send on CC2 to change the drum kit. So we're looking for CC or data 1, 2 in brackets over here. Let's play this and see. So now we go drums, start, stop, kit change, CC2, kit change, CC2, rhythm stop. So CC1, rhythm start stop, CC2, kit change. data 1 and data 2 respectively. And so we can continue. So they're buttons. Now let's add a radial, which is like a volume dial. So same as before, plus radial, decide where you want to put it. Now, because it's a radial, let's go to the control and say, call the control master volume. Here and control master volume. Now let's go and say we want the response for the radial on the radial heading here to be relative to where the dial is. So change that to relative. And then we want to come down to our MIDI control change again. And now we want to make that, in this instance, I've set it as number 4, I think, on the RC600. Let's test that and see. And we want it to be touch, not X. And let's see what happens here when we play this. Rhythm, start, stop. And volume. Bring the volume. Kit change. Volume. Kit change. Stop. Now we've got rhythm, start, stop, change your kit, and control the master volume. Now, of course, you can set another one of these radials if you like. If you look at the final one, you can set a separate one for master and one for rhythm volume, if that's what you wanted to do. But point being, now we can control the volume without having to reach down and touch the RC600. So whilst we're in that vein, let's add a couple more things in regards to track volume levels and track effects and input effects. So same thing applies, plus this time we're going to use a fader. Put the fader where you want to put it. And just for good housekeeping, let's call it TK1 fader. The control section again. Keep my house in order. You can play with the way it looks and feels with rounded corners and colors and everything else, but let's just move to what matters. Let's change it to touch. Let's change it to constant under the controller, and let's make this 1, 2, 3. Well, that was 4, but let's make this CC5, for example. So make the controller 5. Okay, so that means we are sending on channel 1, controller 5. What we want to set up is CC5 to be track 1 volume level. Okay, just to prove that, play it. When we slide the fader, we get data 5, CC5. Now I think we want to make that, again, the response for the fader relative, not absolute, relative. If we play that again, we should see a more linear. No. What am I missing there? What's Lee missing there? Relative. I think it needs to be X, not touch. Yes. Yep. So correction, make sure that that's on trigger being X, not touch, and everything else is as we said prior. To do the right thing again, maybe add a label, plus label, put it down and make it no background as before, under control, no background, and then come down to text in here and say TK1, track 1. And you can place it, keep it neat and tidy, put it where you want to put it, but effectively put it over the track so you've got track 1 and you've got your slider. And then what you can do is you can copy and paste this. So Control-C, Control-V for channel 2, highlight both, do the same again, Oops. Oops, come on. Control V got 4. And then again, 6. And then you can paste across the same way your values. But you need to remember to change these. That's 5, CC6, CC controller 7, 8, 9, and 10. Right, so again, that is 5 through 10. If we play this, watch on the left, 5. Data 1 now is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. They're your CC numbers again. Okay, so now we can control, when we get to the second video for configuring the RC600 end, we now know what those CCs are and how to use them. Okay, so back on the little white dot, exit back. We've now got rhythm, start, stop, kit change, master volume, track volumes, independent track volumes. Let's add another button for input effects. I'll just do one of these and then you can apply the same logic to input effects and track effects. So control and copy one of these. Oops, come on. C, V. Put it up here, for example, make it smaller. Give the button a name, say in effects 1. The button. Come down to the text. Where's the text? Oh, sorry, we need to add a label. Plus label. Let's put the label, oops, label on the button. Drag him there. And then say in effects on label. Control name, so you know what that is. And then come down to text again down here and give the in effects 1. Line it up, make it look pretty, and everything else. Right now for the button, we want toggle press as before. We were already at CC10, so we're going to make this one CC11. And at the RC600 end, we're going to make CC11 turn on track effects A, effects 1. Right, so when we press that, now we're going to get 11 on, off, on, off. Okay, if you want to get pedantic, the background for that label, come back to here, hit that, turn off the background, play it again, and they will just have on, off for CC11. Right, so that pretty much is how you build out the different controls and variables for each of the control types. If you look at what I have here, that's using all of those radials, buttons, CC sends for different commands and everything else that you want to lay out. So that gives you the basis for a control surface. Once you've established your layout the way that you want it, and this one's not very pretty looking, but it gives you an idea. For you to be able to get that on your iPad or on your remote device, just click on the little Wi-Fi looking icon here, and you've got client and server. If you hit server and click enabled, that turns on and it broadcasts that control surface. On the other end, on your iPad, if you click on the same thing again and click client, you'll see your server name or your Mac or your Windows name posted here. When you click on that and connect, it's going to show you the surface you just created on your iPad, which you can then save locally. All right, I'll cover that in the next video as the precursor to move into the 600 end of the configuration. But that's how you get it from the Mac or Windows device to your iPad or your iOS device, and allows you to then use it in real time because the commands and controls all get carried across. As mentioned earlier, protocol is fantastic for you to verify and validate which CCs are being used and how they're being sent, so you know what to do on the 600 end to match it. Is there anything else to add on that basis? If I didn't cover it at the very, very beginning, in order for protocol to receive the MIDI commands from TouchOSC, you need to click on this little chain icon, and you need to, in this particular case, connection 1, where it says Midi Master Bluetooth, that's the CME Midi Master Bluetooth MIDI controller connected into the back of the RC600. Now, you might have a cable that goes straight from your PC or Mac to the RC600's MIDI in and out, or from the iPad or iOS device in the same fashion. In my case, I'm using the CME Midi Master, which I would highly recommend. Removes the need for any cables, which is fantastic. The second connection, though, is just sending to, when you click Browse, you pick Protocol, and that means it will send it to the other app so you can see what's occurring. Okay, so you set that up once. When I trigger from the app and you hear the drum machine start and stop and the kit change and the volume go up and down, it's because it's connecting to the Midi Master, actually MIDI, Wi-Fi MIDI device on the RC600 plugged in a bag. So look that up, CME Midi, WIDI Master, makes your life really simple. So set that up right from the get-go so you can see the messages in protocol coming from TouchOSC. That's the little chain link icon. All right, so let's wrap that up there. That gives you an idea as to how you create the different bits and pieces. You can use your imagination with the different types of things that you can add up in the plus box, and the configuration panels on the same are all the same, depending on what you use, choose and pick. So let's call it there. I hope that was really useful to you, and I will see you in the next video where we look at the RC600 end of this challenge and chain. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope it's really useful for you. And I'll see you in the next video.